Hello, this is ENilhas, and this is my presentation for the case study in EDL 852, Who Should Create the School's Vision? So first, we're going to present the case summary, and everything happens in the Lightville Community School District. This school district serves predominantly two rural towns, and over 60% of the population there are farmers, and also this school district has an influx of new residents. Currently is serving 1,200 students, and but 25 years ago, the district served 858 students. So the population almost doubled over this time. And this district has two buildings at this point, one K-6 elementary and one 712 junior senior high school. And the schools and these buildings are in a 65-acre land this land is like 2 miles away from the two towns that serve this district. So as we mentioned, there is a growing student population. It's been increasing over like 2% every year. There is an influx, we spoke about this already, of new families, and the district rural is set in a rural environment. So this environment, and there is low cost of properties, new schools, attract new residents, and also there is a large city close by, like 10 miles away. So it makes this place really attractive for new residents. And these new residents are mostly families with children that are school age. So because of the growth that this district experienced and student population, they had a problem. I mean, the schools were not fitting all the students they needed to serve. So there were different, the district and the residents were thinking about different options, like expanding, waiting, or there were different things like building a new middle school. So they hire an architectural firm and to see different solutions and propose different solutions. This firm suggested that they should build a new middle school. This brought different reactions. For example, the landowners, they were opposed to any new debt. So this became controversial because other residents favored other options like expanding the existing schools that will bring lower costs, and therefore the tax rates wouldn't be increasing so much. And of course, the new residents that had children school age, they wanted the new school. So, of course, this was controversial. There was a lot of debate, and it was very difficult to agree to any of these options. And after months of public debate, the school board thought that was the best way to go was a referendum. And there was, of course, the people campaigned for one of the options and the others. So at the end of the day, building a new middle school was approved. And it was a pretty divided decision. Was by any means, it was unanimously. It was like barely 53% over 47% that opposed this option. So the board now had to hire a new principal. So they chose Susan Potter. She was hired and a year prior the conclusion of the construction. And Susan Potter had experience as a teacher and an assistant principal in a suburban school before. And the board gave her these duties, like she had to complete the staffing of the new school, develop a curriculum, scope, and sequence. And she needed to collaborate with architects and construction managers in the construction. So staffing was an easy chore. And starting with the curriculum programming, she saw that the need of having a vision and mission, a vision of the school developed. So the first thing that principal did to accomplish this, she formed an advisory committee, and she called the Visioning and Planning Committee. So she formed this committee with 4 teachers and 4 parents. So she appointed these 4 teachers, 4 parents, advised by the superintendent and the board. And Principal Porter said that this committee would be in charge of developing the mission. So she set some guidelines, like the decisions were going to be made in a democratic way, by consensus, and but she didn't want to be the chair of this committee. She wanted to be one of the members, and she thought that her not being a chair was very meaningful, because she wanted the committee to have the power or the say. She didn't want to be an autocrat. The committee members started to try to help her, but very soon this developed in a big conflict. So the conflict was this. The committee was put in charge of developing the vision for the new school. But they wanted Miss Porter to be the chair, first of all, because they thought that she was the expert, she was the most qualified person. And from the very beginning, the committee felt very reluctant to what Miss Porter was the way she was approaching this task. They said, you're the expert, we're going to support you. Whatever you bring to the table, we're going to rubber stamp it. We're going to support what you bring. Ms. Porter said, I don't want to be an autocrat. I want this to be a collaborative process. I want you to come up with a vision. And to this, they reply, well, if you come up with something that we do not agree to, we're going to let you know, but you need to bring something for us to approve. And the principal insisting of the members develop this vision. And so the committee we're trying to be polite and nice and let her know, you are the leader, you are the expert, you should shape these documents. And we don't feel prepared to carry out this task. And the principal should create a vision. So they brought this to a vote, and they voted that Ms. Potter would draft a vision, and they would work starting from that. So that is the conflict. So Ms. Potter didn't feel that was the right way to do it, and the committee didn't feel Ms. Potter's way was the right way to do it. So now that we have explained all the facts, we need to explain if there are any legal or ethical issues. So there are not legal problems in this case study. There's no harassment. There's not a problem of law being broken right now, but there are several ethical issues to be taken into account. For example, there is leadership style here. Ms. Porter wants to be democratic. She does not want to go autocratic. There are conflicting perspectives. For example, there is a sector of the population that has been there for a long, long time. They are like the founders of these towns, and they are the farmers. They have a more conservative point of view, and they have been working the land for a long time, and they have learned how to be conservative with the resources. They also mostly, they are not the parents of the school children that are attending school right now. On the other hand, there is another sector of the population that is young, is new to the place, is bringing a new perspective, new political point of view, and they have not been founding these towns. They are new to the towns, and they are bringing this new energy, and they want new things. They want this new school, and they're not as conservative with expenses as the landowners, and the taxes would fall heavily on them, not into this new family. So there is a conflict of positions there, and there are very different worldviews and very different needs in these populations. And the community values. This is a community that is changing, and it's changing because it's changing not because of a natural evolution of the same people. It's changing because there's new people coming in. So there is people that was there who has a worldview, and they are confronted with this new people that are coming in and bringing all this new energy and these new ideas. And then there is the responsibility of the administration to bring this together, figure out these opposing sides, values, and marry them, and bring it to reality, a new vision that will bring together these two communities. So this is a very, very difficult position to be in when you are an outsider coming into a divided community and trying to, okay, let's come up with our core values, and that's not going to happen very easily. So nobody's being harmed. No, there's no breach of contract. There's no harassment, but there is a community that's being that have expectations also from the leadership. They want the leadership to lead. They want the leadership to bring solutions. They see them as experts, and they don't want to come up. They don't feel like they have the knowledge to develop a vision and vision. That's also another ethical issue right there. So the next section of our case study, we're supposed to summarize what has happened in one sentence. So I'm going to say a founding principle is attempting to develop a new school vision collaboratively, but the vision planning committee asked the principal to create the vision by herself unilaterally, so they would approve it. We're going to summarize the facts right now. So we have Joe Rawlings, the people. We're going to talk about who the people are, the superintendent, and we have this Susan Porter, that's the new high school principal. The middle school principal. We have Helen Burke. She is the chair of the committee, and she's been voicing the concerns of the committee, saying, we don't want to do this right now. We would like to support you. Then we have the committee members, the school board. We have the residents of the towns, the farmers, and the newcomers. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. And the students. So this community, all these people have different values. They have different perspectives. We have conservative people. We have progressive people. We have people that have been working the land for generations. We have new young families. We have different customs, norms, and personalities here. Our case study doesn't mention anything on race, so we don't know anything about that. And we do know a little bit about the sources of political power. Like the board member has farmers that are opposing these new ideas. And the only farmer that is in the board that supported the building of the middle school is Helen Burke's brother. And they are all for Miss Potter's success. They want Miss Potter to be the principal. They want the middle school built, and they want her to be successful. So this is what's happening with the people. About the place, this is Lyville Community School District, and we have two rural towns, and this is mostly a rural area that is 10 miles within a very large city. And we have elementary and high school buildings built in a 65-acre site. And about the program, what we know is that there is one elementary school that has been built 22 years ago. This elementary school is currently serving students from kindergarten to sixth grade. We know that there is a senior high school that is serving students from 7th to 12th grade. We know this is a public school, and there is an emerging middle school that's being developed and built at this point. So now we're going to review and prioritize. First question is, could the conflict, situation, or decision be damaging to the stakeholders of the community? Personally, I believe that this conflict could set up the school for a very bad start, could start the building, or it could be a very dysfunctional place to start with. So it's very important that they have this figure out, because it will sharpen the direction. Sharpen the division among these two sides of the populations, these two groups. It could create a very deep gap that could go into a very bad direction. They can become like opposing sides that will bring more and more problems. And of course, the students are in the middle of all this. I mean, the students that will attend a middle school might be attending a middle school that will be based on division and conflict. So I believe that this is profoundly problematic. What individuals and groups have important stake in the outcome? I believe that the students can be very, very hurt by all this if the administration doesn't figure out a way to bring these two groups together and to figure out a common vision. Teachers will be working in a dysfunctional schools. The farmers will be hurt by cost and be taxed by new costs. The new residents will be unhappy because the towns or the towns are not bringing together a good school for their kids. The superintendent and Ms. Potters could have a very big failure here trying to figure this out. So they need to do a good job. They need to figure this out. And it's really critical that they do this. Have all relevant stakeholders being consulted? I would say no. Only 4 teachers, 4 parents, and the board, superintendent, and the new principal have been involved with the creation of the vision. So absolutely not. Can I learn more about the situation? Yes, I really, I'm curious about if Ms. Potter at any point, or the superintendent or the board, said this is the district's vision, this is the elementary's vision, this is the high school vision. How are we going to align the new middle school vision with the district and the middle school the elementary and the high school? So this is aligned, and this is part of the district. It's not just, an isolated entity here. Do I know enough to make a decision? I would say that based on what the case study is describing, that we have a lot of information here, I would say yes. I think we know enough to try to figure this out. So we need to consider options and possible consequences. The first option that we're advised to consider is the option as is. So the option as the committee proposed was the principal will act on the committee decision of create the vision herself. The second option we need to consider would be the most radical and the most creative. So the principal will lead a collaborative process to create the vision and mission of the school. And the third one would be like a middle ground. So I thought that the principal would lead a collaborative process to discuss the elementary and the high school's mission and vision with the districts and have the committee scale this to a middle school level. Next, we're going to see the possible pros and cons of these options. So option one, that would be to do what the school wanted, the committee wanted to do would be, that would be the end of the conflict momentarily. So I think at this point, the committee will sigh with relief. Okay, she's going to do it. We're going to just support her. And so they're going to be smiling and they're going to be happy momentarily. And the principal would say, okay, I'm going to bring my new ideas here. She's a new principal. I'm sure she has an idea of what she wants to see in her school that she's founding. However, this is going to bring a lot of problems middle term and long term. There are going to be so many issues sooner than later because this is not being developed collaboratively. So therefore, this vision is not made up of the community of stakeholders' values. Option number two, that would be the most radical one. Of course, the committee will feel more comfortable with the idea of the principal leading the process, being the chair, being in charge. But the product will reflect at the end of the day the vision of the stakeholders. The principal will be a facilitator here, but wouldn't be an autocratic leader, but just writing a mission and vision. What are the cons of this option? Well, it can be a very long process. It's a laborious process. Bringing a community that is profoundly divided together is a very taxing, exhausting process. And it would take time, and it would take a lot of diplomacy and a lot of effort from the principal and the committee. And of course, this is outside of everybody's comfort zone. The farmers listening to the new residents, and the young people listening to these farmers. Of course, what they have to say is really important as well. The committee stepping outside of the comfort zone by doing something they're not sure how to do. And the principal leading being an outsider from this community, knowing very little about this community, trying to listen and to everybody and showing everybody the same respect and the same deference. It will be a difficult process. And option number three would be kind of marrying a little bit of both worlds. The principal will be the leader. So therefore the committee will be happier. It's a simpler task. And of course, the product will be aligned with the district philosophy, and it will be aligned with the elementary school, and the vision will be aligned with the high school. So what are the cons of this option? Well, because maybe this vision of the elementary school, we don't know this, but maybe this have been the elementary school developed the vision maybe 22 years ago, when the town was very different, and high school was developed 11 years ago. Many changes had happened since then. So the stakeholders, are different right now. The community is different right now. So it can result in a very obsolete statement, in a very obsolete vision. And of course, there are very key stakeholders that have not been consulted, that they won't have a say on this. So I don't think this is a good option either. So right now we need to make a decision. What is the best option? I think the best option is the option number two, because the principal will lead the process, won't create the vision and vision herself, but she will be the leader of the process. The stakeholders will be consulted, teachers, parents, and but future students, the students that will come to the middle school, the community members, the business owners, the farmers, and the future staff also need to give their input. And the district mission and vision statement also should be taken into account into this new vision. So I think that more complex will be the most beneficial. So how are we going to implement this? First, we need to solicit input. We need to work on collaborating, and we need to present this vision to the community. How are we going to do this? I believe this is going to be a long process, and it's going to take between 12 to 16 weeks. So to solicit input here, the committee needs to work together on designing a survey. For example, they could create a Google Doc, a Google form that will be a very simple questionnaire to answer. This could be distributed by email to all the new teachers, the students, parents, and it can also be posted in the school website. So business owners, community members can be consulted and they can give an answer. So to put the questions in this questionnaire, also the committees should be working on this. They need to try to figure out what the core values are going to be for the school, what attributes, achievements are important, and how do they see the school in 5 years, and how are they going to align this new vision to what the schools that are already existing in the district. And because of the nature of technology, there is a high chance that the new families will have a lot of input if this is done exclusively electronically. And so I believe that there should be also old-fashioned meetings, coffee meetings, like town meetings, where farmers that are not comfortable with using electronic surveys or computers would come and also give their voice. Because if we only keep this survey electronically, we will be excluding a sector of the population. And that is also really important. And this could create a lot of anger in the long term because their voice would not be heard. So I believe that there should be some meetings, and committee members should be trained to take notes of what they say on the core values or what attributes the school needs. So those statements should be taken into account. So everybody should have a voice, and young people should be able to give their voice the way they give their voice right now, that is electronically through technology, and people that are not comfortable using technology or they don't have access to technology, should be also consulted and have an opportunity to give their voice through old-fashioned meetings. So after soliciting input, there should be a collaboration stage. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that this process of soliciting input is a long process because it takes the designing of the survey and implementing the survey and collecting information. So it will be between 8 and 10 weeks. Later, we have the collaboration stage. That should take about 4 weeks. And in this stage, they should gather all the data they have and, put it on the table and review it. So the committee will review it, highlight the main ideas and trends. And so they would identify the shared core values that they find between all the stakeholders. And once they identify these core values, the DLT, the district leadership team, should be involved. So they should draft a vision based on this. And once they have a draft, the district leadership team could give feedback. And this should be posted. And as in a stage that other people can give feedback on wording or how is this phrase, and every suggestion at this point, the committee should be noting this and should understand and record all the suggestions. However, all these suggestions might not be taken into account in the sense that might not be approved at this point, or incorporated in the final draft, but all of them should be considered. Once they have this and they have considered, they should come up with the final vision. So this vision now would be presented to the community. And so it is very important that at this point, now that Ms. Potter, the committee, have finally, after several weeks of working on this, they will take at least 2 weeks to communicate this vision. And they should use the paper, they should use flyers, any means of communication, the website, any means of communication that is possible, so the community will learn this is the vision that we came up with thanks to you. And so at this point, they also be very mindful of mentioning this is just a starting point. This is the vision that we came up with, but we need your support to bring this vision to reality. And of course, at this point, the implementation comes and everybody's responsible for the success of the school. And we need everybody's involvement for the success of the school. And as time goes by, this vision should be revised and very frequently, because this is a community that is changing rapidly. So it's something that should be in an ongoing evaluation. So hopefully this is going to bring everybody's voice to the table, and it's going to build a new vision for the school. So as a conclusion, who should create the school's vision? Creating the school vision that would promote academic success of all students and the well-being of each student and adult should be a collaborative process. The administration should be leading the process, and they should have everybody's voice. They should take all the stakeholders when obtaining information, designing, communicating, implementing the school vision. This is a standard that we've been working on. This is my reference. Thank you very much.